And I can go. All right.
We're now recording, and you can begin at any time.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Coppin State University Virtual Open House. I want to welcome you first, and I also want to say thank you for coming. I want to thank you for considering Coppin State University. And I also want to say thank you for considering teacher education. Teacher education is a very critical and important profession. We had the wonderful opportunity of touching so many lives and cultivating so many minds and preparing them to go out into the world and do great things. And so I want to thank you for thinking about teacher education. And I hope by the time we finish our conversation this evening that you are interested enough to explore enrolling. And so then we can continue our relationship that way. So welcome and thank you again. I am going to have some time at the end for some questions. And if you have them, you can feel free to put those in the chat as we move along. I do have the coordinator for the early childhood program, Dr. Gamble Lomax, she's the coordinator for our elementary education program, and she's joined us tonight too. So I'll introduce her later, and probably at some points I'm going to ask you to chime in, Dr. Gamble Lomax, specifically at the point when we talk about the student organization. And any place else that you feel like you want to hop in there, feel free. But welcome, and I am going to continue. I think I'm sharing my screen. Am I sharing my screen?
Yes, you are.
I am. Okay. All right. All right. So Coppin's conception began with education. Fannie Jackson Coppin is the founder of Coppin State University. She has a very rich and endearing history here at Coppin. We intentionally celebrate the work that she did because the work that she did was so critical for the time in which she existed. And so we take pride in the preparation of teachers at this time. We move with her energy and her ideas in mind as we work to create programs that will prepare students to go out into the world and teach students, but especially those students who look like Ms. Fannie Jackson Coppin. And so we're really proud of this history. Coppin is very proud of this history. And what we hope is that you want to join us as we continue to make history. I am going to just sort of I'm going to share some of our programs or all of our programs in the Department of Teaching and Learning. But I want to begin with sort of perhaps a more personal connection, talking about some of the students that we graduate and some of the things that our graduates are doing. And so naturally, we know that our students graduate and become teachers in Baltimore and surrounding counties. It's going to be very difficult to go into any system and not find someone there who graduated from Coppin. And the really interesting thing about it, and the thing that creates so much pride, is that you see teachers of all ages who have graduated from Coppin. And so we're really proud of that. We have teachers who have gone on to be principals, and I misspelled that word. I'm sorry, you guys, please forgive me for that. But it's the principal that leads the school building. We have some in Baltimore City. So extremely proud of them. The foundation that Coppin laid for them to inspire them just to continue to push forward and have greater impacts. But our teachers are also, they land in so many different places and so many different leadership roles, not just as principals. Of course, some of our students decide to go to graduate school, and we have a couple of graduate programs in the School of Education that are suitable for students who complete some of our programs. And then we have some within the Department of Teaching and Learning that are options as well. And so I'll talk about some of those. We have a very strong relationship with MSDE, which is one of our state partners. one of the state organizations, and we are working closely with one of the Coppin grads now. And so I'm saying that to say that our students are working at local, state, and national organizations. So there's so much opportunity for you as a Coppin graduate from teacher ed. Let me see, because I'm going the wrong way. And so I also want to stop to say that I am a Coppin graduate too. I graduated from the elementary education program in 2000 as a McNair Scholar. And so, and there were examples at Coppin. So Coppin laid that foundation for me, that inspiration for me. And there were so many examples of faculty members and the experiences of my peers that pushed me forward to help me believe and understand that there were so many different options for me. And so I want to talk about the uniqueness of the teacher education program at Coppin. One of the things that we speak about often is that we have a really strong relationship with our students, especially once our students get into their junior and senior year. Our classes are very small. We know our students really well. Many of them have our personal cell phone numbers, and many of us keep in contact with our students who graduated. I had one contact me the other day, just getting some advice about his certification. So, and we really appreciate that. That's one of the things that we love about being faculty members, is that relationship that we have with our students. I talked about the Fannie Jackson Coppin already in terms of the foundation that she laid, and our focus on culture and cognition is one of those ways that we honor her and the work that she did. And so we have developed programs that focus on how do we use culture to teach students, and specifically we target urban students from that concept. We also work with students so that they can implement what we call a critical pedagogy, which is really important for working with minority students in general. So that's one of the things that's really unique. We have a student organization at Coppin that is very active around the state and very active in the community and very active around campus. Dr. Gamble-Lomax is actually the faculty advisor for that program. And so Dr. Gamble-Lomax, can you talk a little bit about that?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Our Coppin State Education Association, also known as CSEA, is a part of the Maryland State Education Association. And so we get a lot of support from the state organization. Our students are very engaged in this organization, as Dr. Ashby-Bay shared, with community outreach, engaging with our partners, different opportunities, also professional development on campus. And the leaders and the members in the organization really take the lead in the initiative to maintain relationships with faculty and with staff on campus. And they make connections to the surrounding school districts. So we might have someone come in from Baltimore City or Baltimore County or Howard County to lead a professional development for our students because, they're interested in restorative practices in the classroom. And so it's an organization where students also have the opportunity to get involved politically with what's going on with education in our state. We have graduates who are still very much involved in this organization. And yes, once you come to Coppin, we definitely want you to be a part of CSEA because it just offers you so many opportunities to engage with faculty, with students, and be connected to the surrounding community.
Thank you, Dr. G. Another unique component to Coppin is that we have what we call the CCPDF grant. And it basically is an opportunity for education majors or anyone who is interested to have their tuition and books paid through this program. There are some other stipulations that related to that, like you have to currently be working in a daycare center, and you got to put in a certain amount of hours in that daycare center. But Dr. Cornish Harrison is the coordinator for that grant. So, just an opportunity for you as you think about your next step. Micro-credentialing through P2P is another unique component of being a student here. Micro-credentials is something that's new in education. But it's an opportunity for you to graduate with your bachelor's degree, but also be credentialed in some other areas as well, meaning that you are more marketable as a professional. Dr. Gamble-Lomax talked a little bit about our students and how they engage with some of the schools, with the public school systems. And that's one of the other things that I want to talk about, our relationship with our professional development schools. Our students are going into these partner schools that we have, working with the teachers in those schools and the students in those schools. But we have some really strong relationships with some of the teachers there and the principals. They're very supportive of us, and their role in making sure that we graduate students who are ready for the profession is so very critical. And that ongoing dialogue that we have between us is so useful, because what we see in our students in the classroom could transfer differently over when they're in the public school classroom. So they really help us to mold our students, and then sometimes, provide some interventions for students who may need them. Kappa Delta Pi is the Honor Society in Education, and it's another opportunity for you to get involved and stay engaged. Another one of the unique things for us is that it's so refreshing for me as a faculty member and for the team of us who work with you guys to see you go from this freshman who is sort of wondering what teaching is to this professional who's graduating and so confident. I mean, the students who we see go into internship with one understanding and come out with another understanding, having been in that classroom and taken over instructionally and gained so much confidence and learn who they are, who come to learn better who they are professionally. That really is the sweet spot for us. That is really the cherry on top of everything that we do. And I always say that there's a difference in graduating a student from a math program or let's say someone who's getting an English degree. I don't know, those are the ones that come to mind for me. Because when you graduate from education, so those students are graduating from a program going to sort of explore professions. When you graduate from an education program, and Coppins included, you graduate as a professional. And that takes a lot of work on our part, and we take pride in doing that. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the majors that we have. And a lot of them are the same in terms of requirements, but there are some that are different. And so I'm just going to move through, but this is a list of our undergraduate programs. And here are some of the courses that, just a sample of the courses that you take. So you will see that there are some general education requirements for English, for one of our programs is human development. You have some business courses, and I'll explain how those programs are different. And then, like, we have some of our core requirements in special education, which, although we have a special education program, every student, no matter what program you're in, has to have a foundational understanding of special education. So that is one of our core courses. EDUC 201, the Intro to Race and Inequity, is one of our new courses, and that one that we're really, really excited about introducing to students and having students to grapple over that content and really look at how that plays out in his or her life. So for us, we substituted out the traditional history course there to look at race and inequity, the history of it. And there are some foundational concepts in reading that we build. This is just an example of some of the courses that we have, just to give you a flavor of that. So I want to talk now about our human development program. Our human development program is a very different type of program than the other programs in the department. This one is different because it doesn't have this, it doesn't have the teacher certification attached to it. Students who are going to enroll in this program want to teach or be an administrator at a daycare center. So that's what this program is designed for. And this is one of those programs where you are going to have some business courses, because if you want to own if you want to own a daycare center, or you want to own your own daycare home, and you know that, then we want you to have some basic understanding about business and doing that. So you're going to take classes that range from business to English, and of course, those theoretical and practical concepts that are built within your education courses. And like all of our courses, we sort of focus in and give special attention to what does this mean to minority students and or urban students in particular. Another one of our programs is the Early Childhood Education, which is a certification program that will, having completed the program, qualifies you to teach pre-K through 3rd grade in public school. And so I am going to, these next 3 programs are pretty much the same in terms of the structure of this presentation, but we're going to talk about some other things a little later on. But this is a Maryland State approved program, currently recognized by a national accrediting organization. Every one of our programs require that you have what we call methods courses and an internship. And this all happens in your senior year. And your methods courses are those courses that you take that basically, so now that you've had this rich experience with what math is, or science is, or reading is, or writing is, or history is, or geography, after you have had all those rich experiences in your general education courses, these methods courses are where you enroll to begin to learn how do you teach those things. So we focus very strategically in those courses, and this is where we come to know our students best. And our students this is sort of their first deep dive into what teaching is. And then they move on to internship, where they're gradually kind of infused in as the teacher who is teaching full day. So they start with observations and move to full day teaching. You have 2 different placements for your internship, and that's for each one of our programs. One of the things that's really important to know when you are considering whether or not you want to come into our program or any program, a lot of people come into teaching because they feel like they want to give back in some way. It's something that they feel like they're called to do. They enjoy dumping into children and really giving that time to children to cultivate them. And all that is very, very, they're very good dispositions to have to keep yourself moving and to keep yourself sort of motivated as a professional. But it's also a very academically rigorous program as well. When I say that, I mean that, yeah, we want you to bring that passion you have for students, but we also want you to understand that when you come in, you are coming into an academic environment. And with that said, you do have to have a 3.0 better GPA in order to get certified in this program, into the early childhood program or any. The other thing I want to mention is there are a series of professional interviews, and each one of our programs will have this series of professional interviews. And if you have any questions, I would gladly take those at the end. The elementary education program is another one of our programs, which again, Maryland State approved, nationally accredited, certifies you to teach grades 1 through 6. Same sort of concept, methods courses that's different from the early childhood methods courses in terms of process, in terms of how you approach teaching content. But you do have an internship there too, 2 different placements. One is generally right here in the community of Coppin, and then our students either go to a Howard County placement or one of the another school in the city for what we call a diverse placement. That 3.0 GPA is still very critical here. And then again, those series of interviews. So you have an official interview to be admitted. So when you come in as a freshman and you identify yourself as wanting to study elementary education or early childhood or special ed, you are considered a pre-major. And And then you have to, there are a certain set of milestones that you have to hit before you're actually officially admitted into the program. And then you have some, before you go into to methods, you'll have that interview. And then with special education, it's the same thing, methods courses, internship, but this certifies you to teach grades 1 through 8. GPA 3.0, that series of interviews as well. And here I just want to talk about the interview that takes you into internship. It is very, it requires that you are professionally dressed. You ask a series of questions by a panel of people, and you have to present basically your work from the program. And that same thing happens when you exit the program. So that is the series of interviews. This is our way of, sort of putting our eyes on our students, knowing which of our students are ready, which one of our students are not. And one of the things that we take pride in is that our expectations are high, but we also offer really good support for you too. We really do set the expectation high and guide you to meet it. We also have some graduate programs as well. We have a master's program is for special education, and then that's the MED, and then one for MAT for elementary certification. This is for anyone who, let's say, finishes that human development program, that very first one I told you about for the daycare owners or teachers, and decide, you know what, I want to go into the elementary school. This provides you an opportunity to then go into one of these programs and get your certification to teach in the elementary school if that's what you want to do. And both of these programs also have an internship 3.0 GPA. One of the big differences is that it does require master's level writing and critical thinking approaches. And it has those professional interviews too. So it mirrors the undergraduate programs a lot, but they are the options that we have for graduate school. And here are some things that are critical for all education majors to know. Again, I sort of talked about the drive that some students have because they love children, they have the passion to work with them. And with that said, there's some things that I just want to share with you as you make your decision. So some of the core requirements and responsibilities, for example, is a certification exam that I've talked about kind of briefly, but these are what we call the praxis exams. And you'll learn more about those in the program, but it's important for you to understand that this is a core requirement. Professionalism is one of the things that we push all the time. Again, when you leave the program, you are a professional, and we really do gauge that throughout the program as well. We have some official measures of that, but we're always keeping our eye on that. And I talked before about our professional development schools and our partnerships. This is one of the ways where we begin to be able to see students and see how well they display themselves professionally and where they may need help. But a big part of professionalism here for me is, and one of the things that I say to students is understanding what's required and making sure that you are tracking yourself through it. We're tracking you, but this is your program, this is your money, this is your life. And so that whole idea of what it means to be professional as a student transfers over into what it means to take action as a professional in the field. One of the other things that we engage our student is an instructional treatment plan. I say it's an instructional and treatment plan. I know Dr. G, you're like, what is she talking about? I'm talking about the intervention study, Dr. G and Dr. Cargo. But the instructional treatment plan, and I say it that way because I really want students to begin to look at teaching the same way that doctors look at medicine, right? I want you to understand that when you are working with a student, you are treating an academic deficit at times. And so this treatment plan requires you to get to know who that student is and create a treatment plan for them, an instructional treatment plan to help them to get over that academic deficit that exists for them. There are required reading, math, and science courses. Each student has to have 12 credits in each one of these areas. And that's really important to know. It's already built into your program though, so you don't have to worry about it. But in order to get certified, you have to successfully pass reading, math, science, and some other courses, but with a B, I mean with a C or better, then you have to have 12 credits of each. It's important that you understand that you have to meet with your advisor, and you have to meet with your advisor regularly. So many students find themselves taking many more credits than they need, or kind of veering off, taking courses that they don't need. But if you meet with your advisor every semester, at least once a semester, twice a semester if you like, pop in and say hi to them whenever you want. We don't mind, but at least meet with them once a semester to make sure that when you register for the upcoming semester, you're registering for the right classes. And I say embrace teaching and learning, because the current modern day teacher and the teacher that is prepared at Coppin State University thinks very differently and moves very differently than some of the examples that you have probably seen in your own experience of being a teacher in K-12. And one of the other things that I notice is I have some people who are very close to me who are teachers who were trained in alternative ways, meaning they didn't come through the 4-year path, and their process, their understanding of cognitive development and classroom management and how to support students in their learning is so completely different. And so when I say embrace teaching and learning, it's embrace this idea that in that classroom, sometimes you're the teacher and sometimes you're the learner. And that student is sometimes the teacher and sometimes the learner. It really is a collaborative space. So that's one of the things that you must know as you think about teaching. Okay. And so let me just make sure I didn't forget anything. I didn't. All right. So now I'm just going to kind of introduce some of the team within the Department of Teaching and Learning. Ms. Gray is our administrative assistant, and she is the one that you're going to contact if she's your first point of contact if you have any questions at all as a student. Ms. Gray is the one who, if you have trouble finding one of your professors or you're unsure about how to register or where to get your books, she can be a point of contact for you. And Dr. Joseph is our most senior faculty member. He is primarily special education, and he's been around Coppin for a really long time, but he works with special education majors and our graduate students. Dr. Barber is another one of our professors who is the faculty advisor for the Honor Society, the Education Honor Society. She also is a reading specialist for us. And so she's one of the faculty members you would be working with. Dr. Wong is the coordinator for P2P. She does a lot of work with the micro-credentialing. And she does this great conference every year for students. And so you will be working with her as well. Dr. Hooper is the coordinator for the early childhood program, and that includes the human development program. And she is one of the faculty members who you will be working with in your senior year. She's one of those faculty members that works really hard to mold you into that professional. Dr. Gamble Lomax, who is also on the call with us tonight, she is the coordinator for the elementary education program, and she works hand in hand with Dr. Hooper in that senior year to get you ready for graduating. All the responsibilities in terms of your milestones, in terms of that instructional treatment plan, preparing you for your interview, all those things. They teach the methods courses and the seminar course. So you will be working closely with her. Dr. Burke is a faculty member here, but she's also coordinator for our PDS and field services. She's the one that you will be working with a lot, because every time you have to go into one of the schools for a field placement or for your internship, Dr. Burke is the one who's taking care of all of that for you. Dr. Cornish Harrison is the professor. She's an adjunct for us, but she's in charge of the CCPDF program. She's a Coppin graduate herself, and she is the one that you would contact if you were interested in knowing about that grant and how to take advantage of it to pay your tuition and fees. No, I think it pays tuition and books, but she would know more specifically about what it is. But Dr. Cornish Harrison is adjunct professor. And then it's me. I'm Dr. Ashby Bay, Coppin grad, and I'm the department chair. And I'm here too. We are always working together to create programs that are going to make sure that you are your absolute best and that you are able to do, and that you have a variety of strategies and a healthy foundation of theory and concepts and what that means in the classroom. And so this is just a general list of all of us again. And if you have any more, if you need any more information regarding my presentation tonight, this is Ms. Gray's contact information at the bottom of the screen here. It's ergray@coppin.edu. And so you can contact her there for any other questions, or if there's anything that you may need additional help or support with regarding programming. And then I can take questions now if there are any questions. There's only one student on, and that's Tiara. I do not want to put pressure on Tiara, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm just going to open up to Dr. Gamble-Lomax and Dr. Cargbo, who are both on the call, just to see if you wanted to add anything else.
This is Dr. Gamble-Lomax. I would just add what you already stated, that Coppin is a learning environment where we work really closely with our students, and we really appreciate the small class sizes because we know all of our students. So Tiara, I hope I'm saying your name right, but you wouldn't be like a number, okay, number 35 in the class. No, you would be Tiara because I know you, I know what you look like, I know what your major is, I know that you have a full-time job, and you know things about me as well. And so it would be, it's that type of learning environment at Coppin and that type of professional environment as well. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Madam. Dr. Cargbo. Dr. Cargbo is a professor in the School of Education, but she doesn't teach in our area. But I love Dr. Cargbo. Is there anything that you wanted to share, Dr. Cargbo?
Yes. First of all, I do want to say thank you so much for including me with the session right here, and to the student who is looking forward to coming to Coppin State University. It is a great place to be, a small HBCU, a nurturing environment, and you'll get a chance to be very successful within a short span of time. This is a great opportunity to be at Coppin. We have excellent technology opportunities at Coppin, and it's a great way to segue from an undergrad program to a graduate program, and it can be done seamlessly. And I was so glad to hear about the scholarship opportunities that we have at Coppin State University. So you won't have to always spend your own money. Just make sure that you maintain a high GPA, contact the right people, be in contact with many of the associations that we have at Coppin. And once you do that, you will soar. And at some point, if you're going to be in teaching and you want to be a part of the program where you want to be a school leader, then you can always inquire about the programs Administration 1, which is a certification program, but you have to have a master's. Or either you can be a part of the Contemporary Educational Leadership Program, where you can earn a master's and come out with opportunities to be an assistant principal, a principal, or other school leaders. So again, if you come to Coppin, you will have endless opportunities to grow. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Carpo, and that's why I like Dr. Carpo. So, but yeah, Coppin State offers so many opportunities for students, and it is the gym in West Baltimore. And I know not only is it the gym, but it also really ensures that when we create programs, we're creating programs to serve the community in which we're situated. And so, and I guess I want to give one more opportunity for a question. And if you don't have one, I don't want to force you to have one, but feel free to either put it in the chat box or, send an email to Ms. Gray or any one of us really. All right, Mr. Harper.
Yes, thank you. Well, I do not see any any questions actually in the chat. This session has been recorded and will be made available to anyone wishing to view it through the admissions office. And if no one else has any additional comments to make, I would think that we have arrived at its conclusion.
Thank you so much. You guys stay safe.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you too. I enjoyed the PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Carpo. Bye, you guys.